Today we're talking about lamps. It is one of my most asked questions, so I thought I would just walk you through the lamps that I have on my main floor here so that you can see if it gives you an idea to put a lamp somewhere, well then that's just joy. So the first thing I want to say about the lighting in the entry is that the previous homeowners didn't really understand that they could have a lamp and a big expansive table over there.
Okay.
So instead what they did was, you open the door like this, and they had a cabinet placed right here where Lucy is. And of course they didn't have a lamp on it. They could have, but they did not. But that was their entry table. What they didn't realize is there was this, all this space over here. And they could put what they had here was like a bench, because they're like, oh, what do we do at this corner? Well, they put a bench here. So really, this is the spot in a large, expansive home like this where you would place an entry table with a lamp. Now, this lamp is the first thing I put on every morning. So that's the entry. Now, if I wanted additional lighting over here, I can put on these sconces. Isn't that beautiful? And it just lights up this corner like that. Now, when it's dark, I like to have those lamps on at the top of the stairs. Those are from Visual Comfort, and aren't they super adorable with my happy sun? That now lights up the whole area in the entry.
Oh yeah, I love that. That looks great. It's so bright.
Yeah. Okay, so let's play a game. How many lamps do I have in here? And you can better believe that I never, ever, ever put on these overheads. Take a look. I have a lot of cheese lights that were here. They were existing. Now, my housekeeper does put them on when she is cleaning the house, right? But truly, I really believe that these are good for like tasks. You're packing in your bedroom like that, right? Looking for your contacts. That's another good reason to put the big lights on. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and if I still need to light up this corner, so I added this sconce. Those 2 sconces were there. I replaced them, but the outlets were there, or the boxes were there, and there is another sconce. And now we have completely balanced lighting in here. So let's talk about shades. Now, you'll notice that I have the majority of the shades in here. They all, this is an Empire shade. I actually don't know what these are called, but they all they're not a drum shade. I have drum shades in the dining room. We're going to talk about them too, but you kind of want all white in general, because you don't want people, the eyes stopping at, oh, that's a black shade. Oh, that's a pink beige shade. So an off-white shade is a really great lampshade. So this is the other thing. If you have furniture that's up against the wall like this, okay? Now, little candlestick lamps like this are really good. I will post some links below on where you can get candlestick lamps. But the other way to handle a wall behind a sofa where you don't generally have a lot of room for standing lamps would be swing arm lamps. So this, I could have 3 here. I could have 1 here and here and here. And that was actually my original plan. I don't think that it's actually too much to have lamps that are, 3 feet apart. I could still have a lamp here, right? I mean, look, if you look at the distance between where this light is on the mantle and where this light is, it's about 4 feet. Nothing wrong with that. Now, the other thing is you don't probably need as much lamp lighting once you've got all 4 corners lit. So this is an opaque shade, right? So then that creates kind of like a glow, right? And it's a good reading light as well. So that works really well also to have up against the wall. Okay, so I just want to say one more thing about the opaque shade, okay? Now, you don't want to have too many of these lights in your space. I was once in a cottage where every single light was an opaque shade, including the pendants above the island. And it just created these like spotlights everywhere, right? You want the glow that comes from a white shade. So limit the number of opaque shades that you have. You also want to limit the number of lights that you have with those Edison lights that just hit you in the eyeballs, all right? Now, I get that there's a lot of really sexy looking bare bulb lights out there in the mid-century modern world. There's a lot, but you want to limit those lights. Keep those chandelier fixtures as they're decorative. They're beautiful, but do you really need to put them on at night for dinner? Probably not. Probably better to have some lamps on a sideboard and some candles instead. So the other question that I get a lot is, well, how do you coordinate lamps in a room? Okay. And also what height? So if you look at, for example, both of the lamps on the other side of my sofas here, they are approximately the same height. If you've got side tables that are different heights, you can make the lamps look the same by just using some coffee table books. So both of these end tables are kind of placeholders. I have more expensive ones in mind down the road that I want to place here. However, right now my decor budget is going toward the landscaping. So that was a table I bought for $20 on Marketplace. This I got for $140 on Marketplace. It ended up, I didn't even realize that, but it was an old IKEA table, but it works really well here. So this is what I will want, but in a more elevated, more expensive looking table down the road. However, I've got them now. Now, also you can see the seams, you'll notice, from this side, but you've got to have the seams somewhere. And so I've got them facing into the living room because this way, every time I walk into this room and into the kitchen, I'm not looking at the seams, right? So that's a detail you're going to want to notice. Now, the other thing I did, because I've got these lamps in the middle of the room, is I had a plug installed underneath the sofa. Now, I have a crawl space, so I was able to do that. You can't install a plug underneath your sofa. Another way to get lighting to the middle of the room would be to run it underneath your carpet, right? Another way would have to just be that you need to look for the style of lamps. Maybe I'll see if I can find some and post them in the links below where they're rechargeable. You can also get battery operated light bulbs as well. I'll post those in the links below as well. So that, but I'm so obsessed with lamps that I would go out of my way to try to have them, to try to plug them in, because I don't want to fuss with, changing the light bulb and recharging the light bulb or recharging the lamp, or, right, you can get rechargeable LEDs now. So that's also an option, but you do have to manage that all the time. You're constantly having to charge them, right? So I would go out of my way to see how you could hardwire them or plug them in somewhere. Okay, so let's talk about lighting in the kitchen. So I inherited a lot of these overheads in here. Taria does put them on once in a while when she's cooking. However, this chandelier is really my favorite thing in this kitchen, and it just adds such a beautiful glow. If you have a chandelier with light bulbs that hit you in the eyeballs, I highly recommend buying these cute little lamp shades. You can get them on Amazon, and I'll also post the links below. Now, of course, because I'm so lamp obsessed, I immediately stuck a lamp here beside the sink so that I don't have to put the overheads on when I'm doing the dishes. This works perfectly. It gives me just enough light to do the dishes because my wife is the cook, which makes me the dishwasher. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, what about cords? How do you hide the cords? So, this one's not easy to hide. It would be sitting there kind of naked like that. So I have a little vase there with a cute little fake flower.
Okay, that's pretty perfect.
Right?
That's cute.
And then it just covers it all up. And then I have
love it.
Sometimes I'll put, if we get some cookies or something, I'll put them in there. I like to usually have fresh flowers sitting right here. It's kind of pretty. I really love this view into the dining room / sunroom. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So now then I've got a lamp right here, and miraculously the cord on this lamp is actually up here. So it looks kind of cordless because I'm not dealing with having a cord coming out of here.
Okay,
So
that's so cool.
I know, I really, really love this lamp. It's just perfect. And I love the pleated shade, which also happens to be trending as well. So I also have a permanent lamp on in my butler's pantry. Now, this room will still get a makeover. I want to put up some different shelving, possibly some wallpaper. But in the interim, I took down some uppers so that it wasn't so imposing with all the uppers. And I put in a lamp and a great piece of art. And this is where I'm kind of lighting obsessed in terms of when they said that incandescent lighting was going to be discontinued. I bought hundreds of dollars worth of incandescent lighting. After all, they don't have warning labels on incandescent lighting like they do on LEDs. However, I do put LEDs in a room like this where I keep the lamp on 24/7. So if I have to get up in the middle of the night and walk into the kitchen and get some water, the house just glows in certain spots. All right. I also have another light in the dining room, which you're going to see, that's also on 24/7. Now, I really like the lighting here. I don't need a lamp here because it's a great, this corner gets lit up by the puck lights that came with the kitchen. Okay. The other thing I'd like to point out is that I have drum shades here on my sideboard in the dining room. So this also happens to be a drum shade because I'm visually constantly looking at this lamp in my kitchen and these two lamps in my dining room whenever I walk into the room, just anytime I'm looking over here. So this is the reason why technically you might go, well, Maria, like you have an Empire shade over here. It's a totally different shade. It's a pleated shade. And here you've got like a drum shade, more contemporary. Yes, but this visually belongs in this room. And that's the reason why it works really well. So like if you've got a sideboard in your dining room, it has to have at least one lamp. If you've got the space, do two lamps. Even if you never put them on, lamps belong on a sideboard in a dining room. If you're wondering why your dining room is not that exciting to be in at night, this is the reason. Now, the other place that I have a light is I have an uplight. I will also post those links below, right behind my fiddly fig. This is a fake one. I'll also post a link on where you can buy this very realistic looking plant, as a matter of fact. I should put a real one here, but I had this in my last house and this is where it stayed. But this is also on 24/7. So when I walk into the house at night, there's a glow coming from the dining room. Also, I love these two lamps, these two lights on the middle of the dining room. These are, if you haven't seen them all over Amazon, they are rechargeable and they are so fabulous for a dinner party. Now, you might be thinking right about now, Maria, what about the lamp over here? Where is it? I don't have one yet. So this is the dark corner in this space. Soon to have a lamp, just doesn't have one yet.
Okay, I thought you did that on purpose. But I guess you do need a lamp in that corner.
I do. Last but not least, we're gonna have a little troubleshooting moment here because sometimes when people say to me, oh, I don't like my lamps, I think, really? Really? How can that possibly be true? Well, it could be because your light bulbs are not correct, all right? So you always want to have a frosted bulb inside a lamp with a shade. If you do not have a frosted bulb, you'll see the mechanism, right? You'll see this inside the actual lamp and it will reflect on the ceiling and cast an unflattering shadow. We don't want that, all right? Now, most lamps can also have a 60-watt bulb. Sort of that was the incandescent equivalent. So now I have found the best LED lights. I mean, I don't know if they're the best, but I have found them to work from IKEA. They're a nice warm light It's 2700 Kelvin, which is what you want. You want to duplicate the feeling of sunlight. So you want that warm yellow glow on your lamps. All right. So that is, you can get 60 watts. And it says right on here, right? 60 watts, like it sort of duplicates the world of incandescent. So where I might put 40 watts might be if you have a standing lamp and you've got maybe 3 lights in the standing lamp. Well, 60 watts is too much. Then you might want to do 40 or even 25, right? If you have 2 lamps on either side of your fireplace, maybe you do 40 watts there. But experiment, because it's really important that you get your bulbs just right. If you like this content, please like and subscribe below, and I'll see you next time.